Hello, hello, testing, testing. Oh, let's close some of these other applications, like that one. Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Eternal Grind with me, Keith the Tristero Watabayashi for Numot Gaming. And today, what are we going to play? We're going to play another deck I've been working on for a little bit with Manus. If you play a lot of Eternal or have been the last couple of months, you might recognize the basis for this deck of being Manus's Owl ramp deck. So what you're essentially doing is Combre ramp things with like Find the Way, Secret Pages, Iron Thorn, Ambassador, but you're building to aid of the Hooru instead of other just big units like Vodacon or something like that. I really like the deck. It's probably tier 2 if I really had to be honest, just because you can only dirtle so much. And Aid of the Hooru is an amazing payoff, but it can sometimes not be enough depending how far behind you get. But overall, I really like what the deck's game plan is and the idea of staying alive and some mild interaction like Student, Marshal, Island's Choice, with big payoff cards like Great Parliament, Mystic Ascendant, Aid of the Hooru, to really, force your opponent to trade resources early, because if they leave you alone, you just easily ramp up to Aid of the Hooru, and Aid of the Hooru can really break a board state, and if you're ahead, it's an amazing card. Or they have to interact with you, and you're both left without a lot of resources, but then Aid of the Hooru gets you right back into the game. So I like the way this deck tries to win the game. And I like the fact that you have a few win conditions. You don't have just to rely on one, even though Aid of the Hooru is best. Mystic Ascendant is a win condition. Great Parliament, Seraph, even Awakened Student can be one. If you just get a really nice start to the game, just kind of snowball, this can be great. So I've been working on this for a while. Some of the things I like personally are the 4 Ambassador and the 4 Aid, as opposed to multiple Mystics. Mystic Ascendant's okay in the current meta. Like it's really vulnerable to the Argenport decks because they have things like Annihilate, and it comes down a turn after Tavorod, so Tavorod can just get in there really easily, and you're gonna draw one card and your opponent's just drawn like 3 cards, so it's kind of like eh. So I really like getting to Aid of the Hooru just to draw those extra cards to get those bodies on the board. I really like Minotaur Ambassador as opposed to something like the new Power Stone, because this is another body. And what you want to do with this deck is you want to be playing Secret Pages on 3, Iron Thorn on 5. That's greedy because you're going to play him and not play a power, but that's ideally what you want to do. Play him on 5 and then play Ambassador on 6, and this puts you up to 11. So then you go straight into Aid of the Hooru. So basically you should be playing Iron Thorn on turn 4, Ambassador on turn 5, and then Aid of the Hooru on turn 6 if you get the perfect draw and your opponent doesn't interact with your Iron Thorn. That's not going to happen that often, but that's the kind of like blowout draw curve you can do. So other than that, pretty standard. Desert Marshal is just great. Maybe the best unit in the game, probably. Island's Choice, great interaction. I wouldn't mind running 4, but I don't want too many reactionary cards. So I think 3 is right. 3 Seraph. Seraph is an okay win condition. Just good early, okay in the mid game. Really good once you get to 11 power or more. So having some number is great. Great Parliament, excellent at any point during the game. 4 mana for a 4/4 flyer is great, and then 4 mana for 2 4/4 flyers is really just incredible and not difficult to do. So that's kind of what you're trying to do with this deck. Really set up your mana and then play some big payoffs. And then with Harsh Rule and Leave a Witness. This is just the 5th Harsh Rule. It can be really strong with something like Iron Thorn or Mystic Ascendant or even Seraph to just really swing the game. So that's why there's only one of. I wouldn't necessarily play more. I'm not even sure I want the 1, but I like the way the 1 has been working out. So let's jump right into some games. I promise we'll go back to faster decks soon. It's just I've been playing a lot of control lately in general with my games. So that's kind of where my mind is this month. I wouldn't mind playing more mid-range decks, but the problem is with Tavorod out there in Argenport, there's just no point to do any other mid-range strategy than just play Tavorod, and I don't particularly like the Argenport deck. It's really good. I just don't like the way it plays. I don't like the kind of all-in on the one strategy, and I don't like the... well, this is a pretty easy mulligan. The fact that you always have to set up favorable attacks. I mean, it's a really linear one strategy deck. It just does that strategy so well with really powerful cards. I mean, I like a little more flexibility in my decks, a little more flexibility in what kind of hands I can keep, the way I want to play out my threats or my answers. And I don't think you have too much of that with the Tavorod decks. Speaking of Tavorod, well, we have what we want. We have Desert Marshal and Island's Choice, and we have a Harsh Rule. These are all excellent ways to deal with Tavorod. Relic weapons can be a problem for this deck, like they are for any control deck. But that's the way the game is designed. I really do like that tension between control decks being really good at dealing with units and controlling the board, but being very weak to relic weapons. And I think it would be really bad if it was too easy for control decks to just control everything. So we're going to draw first, see if we get a banner or a seat. Ooh, we are kind of short on justice here. That might be a problem. We're not in terrible shape because we have plays, but we're running out of plays pretty quickly. So, for example, if we don't draw, oh, never mind. Well, there was a possibility our opponent doesn't attack with the sword. There we go. But now we can ambush with the Desert Marshal, so that's great. So now we'll just hold back. So now we're just looking for our ramp cards. Secret Pages, Iron Thorn, Minotaur Ambassador. I imagine our opponent's probably going to get a Tavorod with that. So we're going to hold back our silence. I mean, we can take 3 damage. It's not a big deal. Okay, let's get a Justice Sigil. So I do expect our opponent to play a Tavorod, which means I don't really want to play anything else because I want to hold up Desert Marshal, and I might have to Harsh Rule. I really don't want to play this after Tavorod attacks because that's just a losing proposition. So I think we will attack for 1. Nah, we'll hold back the chump. I might want to chump block this. But drawing Minotaur Ambassador would be great. If our opponent goes Tavorod and then we Desert Marshal him, and then next turn we play... our opponent's probably got a Relic Weapon. We'll take the 3. They might have got a Daisho. It's possible they just went ahead and got Ikaria, but we can deal with Ikaria right now. So I'm not too worried about that. Okay. Okay, now I think we will play the Great Parliament. Well, we could also play Seraph. Next turn we go to 7, so we might be going like Harsh Rule, Desert Marshal. But we can also go Great Parliament, Seraph next turn, or we can play Great Parliament and hold up Island's Choice. That sounds pretty good to me. Okay, we'll play Seraph. Seraph demands an answer. It can block the Artisan. So that's what we're going to do. We might get hit with a Torch here or something like that, but that's fine. I'll take a 2-for-1 with Seraph. She's not our best win condition. She is a win condition and something to do, but we don't like have to have Seraph to win. So you can see our opponent is either stuck on mana and trying to get to Ikaria, or they really don't want to play around, or they're really trying to play around Harsh Rule, or they have a lot of removal. It's one of those things. But we're just going to hold back. We could play Great Parliament right here if we wanted to and hold up the Island's Choice, which actually doesn't seem terrible. Do we have a better play than that? And I guess if our opponent plays Tavorod, we can just Desert Marshal. Yeah, I actually think that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and do that. This way, if our opponent plays a Harsh Rule, we can use our Island's Choice like a Time Walk. Okay, let's go ahead and get a primal. I like to get primal a lot because when you draw ambassadors, they get oh, that's too bad. They get your Combrade colors for you. There's no reason to play Ironthorn here. I mean, I guess we could if we really wanted to be greedy, but Ironthorn is pretty vulnerable to spot removal. Although having Island's Choice to deal with Harsh Rule is pretty tempting. Like, we could play Ironthorn, and then our opponent might play Icaria. See, I like holding these up because this deals with Icaria right away. The only reason we'd want this is if we draw an ambassador next turn, but I think getting to 11 is fine, just as much as getting to 13, so I think we will pass. This is a good enough board right now. Our opponent's not doing anything. I kind of wonder what's going on here. Again, they could have gotten an Icaria and they're having mana problems. Yeah, okay. We're going to go ahead and cancel that. This does make us a little weaker to Icaria. But we're going to play Ironthorn and say go. So if our opponent plays Icaria, oh, that's too bad. Well, now we just need to pretty much draw out of this. But we did get to the magic number 12, so we can play anything we draw. And 8 of the Hooru is pretty good right now. Oh, it was Dice Show. Okay. Well, that's not great. We're going to be in trouble here. These Harsh Rules are pretty dead cards right now. So we need to draw out of this. Oh, sometimes lucky. Ooh, we even have a second 8 of the Hooru. Well, if our opponent has the third Harsh Rule, that would be bad. We're at 19, though. We're not dead on board. We're almost dead on board, but not quite. Ow. And ow. Okay, well, let's do it again. I would love to draw a low-cost unit that we can actually play for some extra blocking, which we did, so that's great. And we will say go. Can't beat a third Harsh Rule. We could beat that. That we can beat. Oh, that's clever. Let's see here. Yeah, I think we just swing. Let's see, if we play Ironthorn and we play this and we play this, this actually gives us quite a bit of mana. So let's see, this gives you 2, you go to 4/4, and then you become a 5/5, you become a 6/6. Not quite. Yeah, we can make you, wait, no, we get 2 here, so you become a 4/4, you become an 8/8. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Yeah, okay. And then we attack with both. Oh, yeah. And then has to block, so he doesn't get the attack with Tavorod. And then another Harsh Rule would be kind of bad, but not the end of the world, because we have a lot of action, because we drew a bunch of cards with 8 of the Hooru. Very helpful, those Hooru Owls. Yeah, it didn't seem like there was a lot our opponent could do there. Well, that's a good start. I like beating down the Tavorod. Hey, and we're doing a quest. 8 of the Hooru. It's really hard to lose when you resolve an 8 of the Hooru. Going first, this hand's actually kind of interesting because, I mean, I'm not going to keep it, but you almost could, since you go 1 and you get another power, and then you play student on 2, and then you have 2 draws to get to secret pages, and then if you go secret pages, you have a good chance to get to marshal, and then from there you kind of go off. But really don't want to keep a 1 power hand when you're playing a ramp deck. But you almost could with that one, because Awakened Student early on gives you some flexibility. I mean, because even if your opponent takes a turn off to play a removal spell, that's good for you, because you want to see a lot of cards. This hand is better-ish. It has a lot of setup but not a lot of payoff, so we will need to draw in some of our payoff cards. Ooh, Oni Ronin. Okay. Let's see here. We're just gonna take beats on that one. Do I want an Island's Choice this early if I draw it? Or do I want to get the second Justice Sigil so I can make sure I get the Harsh Rule on 5? Nah, we'll get the Primal Sigil. It's fine. We're in pretty good shape to survive early onslaughts with Double Marshal and Awakened Student. We're not in great shape, but all we have to do is get to 5, and then we'll be okay. So hopefully next turn we draw a power and we can play 2 cards in 1 turn. If we have to keep playing 1 card a turn, that's going to be really tough to come back from. Sure. Well, what do we think we're going to find here? Maybe a Rapid Shot. So if they have a Rapid Shot, it doesn't really matter which one I block. So we'll just block this. Well, they don't have a Torch. Are we going to get Vara's favored? Well, either way. Nothing wrong with that. That's not bad. It's not great. But we will go ahead and get our Justice Sigil so we can try to get to 5 and say go. I mean, we're gonna take 2 this turn, but I mean we're pretty high up on life, and you know, these Desert Marshals are gonna do some work here for us, so I'm not too worried about it. And now we have the Harsh Rule set up. In fact, we go next turn, we go Ambassador with Harsh Rule set. Pretty good. Pretty good. I really wish you could react to that. Like, it's not fair that they get to... I mean, I guess it's better for us if they spend their whole turn doing this and all we do is kill it. But I wish you could have some window to interact there. The way they order who gets to take what action when, I don't know about that sometimes. Let's go ahead and play you. Hold up Marshall. And we're looking okay. We're looking okay. Don't have a lot of action in our hand right now. I'd like to draw, you know, something to do with this mana. Well, I guess now we have an easy. Now we have an easy Harsh Rule, so you know, there's that. Let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, let's just do this. So now we know where all their war cries went. So it's weird you can interact with that damage, but you can't interact with the unit coming down before your opponent gets to like start their turn and do their thing. At least to me, it's weird. It's not bad. That is also not bad. We're getting there, getting there. Go ahead and play that, and then we'll say go. And then we'll just chump block this for as long as we can. Well, that's not very nice. And we are going to chump block. Well, let's see. Do I care about taking 3? No, I don't care about taking 3. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, that would have been good. Hopefully they put like a weapon on this and we get to kill it. Well, that works too. Like to draw power. That's a blocker. Not what we need. We're almost there. This does happen with this deck sometimes. You get to 11 and you're just kind of stuck, which can be very frustrating. Oh, yes. But sometimes you get to 12. I don't think our opponent can come back from this. We gain 4 life, we draw 4 cards, and we just start going. Now we already got rid of 2 obliterates. Yes. That was fun. Ooh, and we finished our quest. Oh, we got the upgrade. Whoa, we got the double upgrade. Man, look at all this swag. Direwolf, you are amazing. We're going to go ahead. I will open that pack at the end of the video. Nice start, nice start. Let's see if we can keep it going. Let's see. On the draw, this hand we cannot keep. It's good against like a mid-range deck if we don't take too much damage and we draw early interaction. But you can see, even though we have a mixture of good mana and good spells, especially like spells to get us back from behind or catch us up from behind, we don't have a lot of versatility in this hand and what to answer. So we really don't want to be all in on just drawing a 5th power and drawing Harshful. We want to have a little more to do. This hand is pretty much on par with the other one. It's a little bit better because you have a little more to do early on, and you have a little bit of ramp. Like if our opponent gets like a really bad draw or something, we could in theory go our secret pages into Iron Thorn into a 6-drop, which would be great. But that's not something you can necessarily rely on. So it's not like you want to look at a hand and be like, well, if everything goes right, this hand's great. You want to look at it as if everything goes wrong, or if my opponent has a great draw, how am I going to deal with it? That's what you have to look at when you look at a hand that's not perfect. And this hand isn't by no means perfect. Another Tavorod deck, eh? So let's do this. I think we will play a Seraph. I don't really want to keep getting beat down by the sword. And playing this to 4, but with a depleted power means we can't necessarily go into 5. So we're going to play Seraph. And then on next turn, turn 4, we can do something like Temple Scribe, maybe draw another card. Like we could go, that's not great though. If we go Secret Pages to get a second time, then next turn we could go Temple Scribe, Hooru Banner not depleted, and then play Seraph and play Scribe and Seraph. That's not bad. But then we take the 3 here. We could play Seraph, and if she eats a Slay, then we're really behind. So I think we just got to take the beats. Not great, not great. But with Island's Choice, that helps a lot against War Cries if they get on a unit. We have good mana. We need a second time so we can play Temple Scribe, but this is our second Justice and second Primal for like Iron Thorn and Aid of the Hooru. Okay, so let's do that. Ooh. Okay, it's not bad. So now we might want to go Temple Scribe and get a mana so we can use Iron Thorn. That's probably the right play. So I don't want to play this yet because drawing power is not necessarily bad for us because we do want to ramp and we're doing lots of power. What would be a better spell to draw? I guess drawing like another low cost unit would be better than drawing power. That's true. Because if we draw like a Desert Marshal, we can Iron Thorn, play the power, hold up Marshal. So let's give ourselves the best chance to draw a 2-cost unit that we can pair with Iron Thorn. Well, again, drawing power is not terrible. Desert Marshal is probably our best card in this matchup. Okay. We're in pretty bad shape against a Tavorod right now, unless we draw Harsh Rule or Desert Marshal. But I don't think we have another way to play this game. Oh, well, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. We could play Seeroff and hold up Island's Choice. But I think ramping is fine. And then, Iron Thorn's definitely going to eat it. But now we can do things like, if we draw Great Parliament, we get 2 birds. We can do like Seeroff, Island's Choice, 2-drop. It's just better to ramp while you can. And our opponent is running out of resources. They're not doing a whole lot, so they've really drawn the sort of like, Recano part of their deck, not so much the Argenport part of their deck, which is fine. There we go. So if our opponent does more spot removal here, then there's a good chance that Great Parliament, backed up by Island's Choice, is going to be pretty good. Even though we're getting beat down, our opponent's down to 1 card, and we have a lot of action. And we're ramping pretty well. Okay, so we could go... Now we could play another Iron Thorn. And ramp to 10, which gives us a Seeroff out, which puts us close to 3 owls. That's not bad. But if we play Iron Thorn and they have another removal spell, we're in pretty bad shape. But I guess we could play Iron Thorn and ramp and hold up the Island's Choice. That's not bad. I think the owls are better, though. It's better against the sword, for sure. I don't want to have to use Island's Choice on this guy. So let's just do this and play a couple owls. And say go. I want to hold this up for Harsh Rule. Yeah, our opponent had a lot of spot removal. Look at that. Yeah, we're just going to block. Okay, so our opponent does not have any fast spells. They might have something like Hammer by now. Yep, that's what I thought. I'm going to cancel that. Because, if we take 3 and go to 4, that's just bad. That's just really bad for us. Yeah, too bad. We could have kept... Maybe we should have played Iron Thorn. Tough to say. But we're going to say go. So we're probably dead to an Icaria, because that means the Icaria got all the Warcry. But you can't beat everything. And we're pretty close to stabilizing here. Technically we are stabilized. It's just we're really vulnerable to a few top decks. But, we have the Aid now. We have Iron Thorn down. So we're not immediately dead to a relic weapon. Sure. Like that. Desert Marshal. That's interesting. But we're just going to do... It's interesting. We could hold up the Desert Marshal because if our opponent draws another removal spell, we're dead to that. Yeah, we're going to hold up the Marshal. So like another Slay, another Harsh Rule. We can play the Marshal and trade for the Hammer, and then next turn we can Seeroff, which I think is better. And we're just going to do this anyway. Skip. And let that go. That's not bad. We're definitely doing that. And then we're going to hold back. Because one of the few things we could lose to is Icaria. at least this way, we can chump block any Karya and then play 8 of the Hooru, which is not a great plan. But once we get that 4 life, which we're going to get next turn, that 4 armor, we'll be in pretty good shape. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now I'm feeling pretty good. Even another harsh rule we can live with because we can play a Great Parliament for a bunch of dudes. Like next turn we could go Mystic, Great Parliament, Secret Pages, make 3 owls, make a huge board, draw a card. Like we have a lot of options. We could also just play Seraph and start going off with Seraph if we really wanted to. But we did get lucky our opponent did not hit a Tavorod. I think we would have been in really bad shape if that happened. Let's see here. What is the best thing to do first? I think we'll just start using Seraph. I mean, I'm going to swing for 8. Yeah, because we're at 11. That's fine. I think I'd rather just play more to the board. Ah. Well, that's unfortunate. Always play the Seraph first in case you get a charge unit. I mean, it's not that unfortunate. We have a giant blocker with Aegis. Seems good. Seems good. All right. We are doing it. Interesting so far. What have we played against? 2 Tavorod Armory and Stone Scar. Seems to be the meta. This meta is not the best I've ever played for Eternal. I don't particularly enjoy the Tavorod games, either as a player or as an opponent. This hand going first is fine. We're going to keep it since we have early interaction. This is where having Awakened Student in the deck is really good because you can have draws like these where your hand's pretty decent, but needs some help, and Awakened Student can help bridge that gap. If we don't draw out of this, we're going to be in kind of bad shape, but this is enough to get us started with a really good payoff. I mean, we want to draw a ramp, and our deck has a lot of ramp, but if all you do is draw the ramp without a payoff card, you're in pretty bad shape. So at least this way, we have early interaction, we have payoff. So all we have to do is just draw either power or ramp or other cards. Like this hand sets us up for some really good draws. And it's less punishing of bad draws because of our early interaction cards. So the reason I don't enjoy the Tavorod meta that much is I really don't like the games in Eternal where they just come down to one unit with Aegis or one big unit with lots of weapons and like removal spells. I mean, that really feels like you're playing against the computer or you're playing solitaire against one card. So like Bart decks, Rakano plate decks, stuff like that where it's just like get a Silverwing Familiar, get a Bart, get a Tavorod, and just, that's the whole game. I really dislike that element of Eternal. I don't know how we do against Clockroaches, to be perfectly honest, because we're both dirtling for a long time, and the Clockroach endgame is really, really good. Or just like the Crown of Possibilities endgame engine is the best in the game. I mean, seriously, if you're playing a game where all else is equal, but your opponent has a Crown of Possibilities and you don't, you're probably going to lose. It's really, really hard because eventually they're going to get more keywords like Aegis, like Charge, like Destiny, Revenge, and the card advantage and the value they get from that is like really hard to beat. So this might be a Nico Traxian deck. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. I'm just going to blank your turn. Seems good, right? Sometimes you just run away with the game with your away. Oh, dang it. I'm too busy talking. I just missed 2 damage. Oh well. See, that's why I'm in the thousands. I hope we don't lose this game by 2 damage. That would be really embarrassing. Sure. I'd really like to draw a little more primal here. We're in pretty good shape. Harsh Rule is bad for us, but it's always going to be bad for us. Yeah, oh, if we'd done that 2 damage to put him down to 10, that'd be such a big deal. Because then playing both of these after a Harsh Rule to get like points of damage in would be a very real thing. Hopefully our opponent's main removal is something like a Permafrost, and then they try to Permafrost our student, and then we just silence it and swing for 10. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Oh, do it. Do it. Nope, our opponent did not get there. That's why Awakened Student is in the deck, just for games like these, where you can keep a hand that is maybe light on your overall concept, but has a good tempo play, like Awakened Student, Desert Marshal, and you just get there. You know, exactly for matchups like that, where you can end games a little quicker than you could otherwise if you didn't have it. Getting back to Tavorod meta, I mean, that is a problem that the game has. I wish they would do more about. But at the same time, you know, a lot of people do like those kinds of decks where, you know, you just go big on one unit. You just go full, you know, Timmy, full pants on one unit and just make a giant monster and just start smashing. So I can appreciate needing to have that in your game, but too much of this game feels like it comes down to that, especially like in draft. So this hand is not very good. We're really playing off the top to get our mana going. Don't have a lot of interaction. I mean, we can't play anything until turn 5, and if we don't draw power, we literally can't play anything. So being on the play, there's no advantage to keeping this hand because we can't get to the board early. We can't ramp early with this hand. So we're going to mulligan. This hand's a lot better just because we have things to do. Being on the play and having secret pages is so good. I mean, this is a hand where if our opponent struggles, we want to get really bold, we can just play Martial Ironthorn a turn early, and then, you know, maybe get to start our turn with Ironthorn and play another secret pages to just ramp up quickly, which I probably will do. Ironthorn really isn't in here to stay on the board and like do a lot of things. It's meant to do one thing and one thing only, which is ramp. Okay, that's an interesting way to play out your power. So it looks like we're playing Tavorod again, which means we probably will just run out Ironthorn. And that means Ironthorn is probably going to get killed really quickly, but this deck has access to Annihilate and Slay, so Ironthorn is not really going to survive much in general. But at least there's no turn 3 Sword of Icaria, so I can dig that. I guess if we really want to wait, since we have secret pages, we can ramp to 6. And then next turn, Ironthorn puts us to 8. That's pretty good. Our opponent's not playing much, so that leads me to believe they really do have removal. So even though if by some miracle we got to actually start our turn with Ironthorn in play, and we could go from 5 to 9, that'd be great. But is that really better? From going like to 8? Probably not. We'll go ahead and let them go. But I'd like a few more proactive plays. Having this Harsh Rule and this Leave a Witness is not great right now. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Really wish we had the Islands choice there. Maybe this should be the 4th Islands choice. Here we go. So now we're in a position where we need to draw payoffs. We're in a pretty good spot with ramp. But again, this is why Armory and Relic Weapons are good against control, because our main control elements right now are creature removals. Ooh. Ooh, we actually get to... Oh, no, we don't have the 3rd Justice. No! That is very unfortunate. That would be so good. We are going to harsh rule here. Like, can't let that Tavorod attack. We can't beat a Tavorod attack right now. I'm going to be really mad if this guy draws a Justice. No. Okay, good. So this is great. We're ahead of schedule to 12, and now all we got to do is draw 8 of the Hooru. Interesting that our opponent got a Tavorod. You'd think they'd go for a bigger payoff, a more immediate payoff. Not that Tavorod isn't a payoff, it's just... I would think you get something like Daisho or Ikaria or Runehammer or something. I mean, given that I played a Harsh Rule, Harsh Rule was basically a 2-for-1 with Rise to the Challenge and Tavorod. Yes, yes. Ooh. What do we think? I think we do this. 2 Tavorods down. We're going to go ahead and play this now. In case we draw, like, if we get more mana, get a second Parliament. Draw some of our more expensive spells. Yeah, the Sword of Ikaria is coming for us. Ooh, that's like gotta be the worst draw we could possibly get. Well, I'm not a big fan of playing into a Harsh Rule like this, and our opponent's done very little, so a Harsh Rule is a very real possibility. But if that's what they take their turn to do, and the only threat we have to deal with is Sword of Ikaria, that gives us a chance. But I'd like to have a little more action post-Harsh Rule. Yeah, maybe the 4th Island's Choice, although Leave a Witness to get rid of Tavorod was pretty good. Oh no. This is not what we need at all. Yeah, we are a little bit flooded here. Well, actually, we're quite a bit flooded, but... Okay. But then sometimes you live. Although we are dead to another Harsh Rule if we don't draw. Ooh, we did draw the Island's Choice, so... Can't argue with that. So we're going to leave this up. Oh, they don't have it. Gonna do it the old-fashioned way. I can live with that. I can live with that. Smuggler Stash is not happening. Sorry, buddy. I'm actually not that sorry. In fact, I am not sorry in any way, shape, or form about that. I wouldn't mind getting another 8 of the Hooru. That would be quite good. But Mystic Ascendant is not bad either. Harsh Rule is not what we want right now. Aw, that's too bad. Okay, well, our opponent doesn't have much left either. So another payoff card would be great for us. Iron Thorn's not the worst. I don't really want to take 6. I think I am going to play Iron Thorn. I mean, these are 2 power cards, so I am perfectly alright with trading Iron Thorn for this Runehammer, if that's what has to happen. And at least this way, they have to have 2 removal spells to hit me in the face. I mean, we just want to see as many draws as possible. Another Smuggler Stash should be pretty tough to beat, but we have so much more mana than our opponent. Oh, that's pretty gross. That's pretty gross. Need a Desert Marshal. Need a Desert Marshal. Hey, look at that. Sometimes lucky. Still, that was Quite the war cry. We haven't quite gotten out from under our flood, and our opponent has not missed a single turn. I mean, they had just 2 power in 1 card, and they've played something every turn. So we are definitely on the back foot of a flood draw, and our opponents had a very good draw. But sometimes we also get good draws. No harsh rule? Oh, thank God. That was terrifying for a moment. Okay. Okay, now we're actually going to do this in the right order. In case we get a charge unit. Ooh, maybe we do. No, we don't. We get an Iron Thorn, which isn't bad. And we'll say go. Also dead to a torch, actually, at this point in the game. I didn't even realize that. Aww. Again, that was a great game. We both had good draws, but we had one too many flood draws. And our opponent did not miss a draw. I mean, they played the Rune Hammer, and then they played Privilege, and they had 2 power and 1 other card, and everything they drew was relevant. Because they never got above 7 mana, so our opponent just literally outdrew us. But that's what happens. I mean, we've had great draws so far this run, and our draws were good too. I mean, it just... Sometimes, you just get outdrawn. That's the way it is. We really wanted a second Aid of the Hooru. It's pretty rare you lose when you play Aid, but literally if our opponent missed 1 more draw, since they got us down to exactly 2. So for example, the fact that they got Ikaria in for 5, and they had Runehammer to remove another unit, so we couldn't attack. Like, every time our opponent drew something to do damage to us and interact with us, when we drew a power, it was relevant. Sometimes it's not relevant. Sometimes you're able to, like if we had drawn a second Aid of the Hooru, it wouldn't have mattered how good our opponent's draws were. Or if they had, if their cards were a little less powerful, it wouldn't have mattered. But in that game, because we got down to 2 and they had a torch top deck, everything they drew mattered. Every point of damage. So, that was a good game. In the meantime, we are way behind right now. False Prince is actually pretty difficult for this deck since we don't have cheap interactive spells like Torch. But we do have a Harsh Rule, so we're going to take some beats, and then we're going to Harsh Rule to get back in this game. At least that's the plan. So we're just going to take it. We'll just take the extra damage. I mean, I can't really block this with my Great Parliament. That's just a waste, especially since I want a Harsh Rule. So we just have to get low in life and then go from there. But that was a great game. I don't mind trading the Harsh Rule there. It's really only a 1-for-1, but our opponent's doing nothing, so they're obviously afraid of it. So we have to do something. Surso's pretty bad right now. Yeah, well, like I said. Mystic Ascendant. How are we going to beat this? If you play Ambassador into Great Parliament next turn. So we're going to take 6 this turn. And then next turn, we can go Ambassador, Great Parliament. Seems good. And then just, if we lose to a Crystallize. We definitely lose to a Crystallize. But not having early interaction, and, again, False Prince is pretty good against us. If we had a little more time, if we could have taken a little more damage, we definitely could have been at 12 already for Aid of the Hooru. But unfortunately, we really were on the back foot right away, really having to defend our life total quite a bit. And here we're going to go to 1, because I don't think I can block the False Prince. And again, we can't beat a Crystallize. Yeah, I don't think we can beat that either. Interesting choice. Unless they have a Permafrost. Well, our opponent just has it all. Almost. Need the second Harsh Rule. The Sursa was bad. I mean, our opponent knew we were going to harsh rule, knew we had to harsh rule, didn't overcommit, and had the right units to back that up. So unfortunate. Another harsh rule, Desert Marshal, Island's Choice would have been great. If we had a way to play this on turn 2, I'd keep this hand, but as it stands, we cannot keep this. Close though. We were very close, but we're playing, a deck that wants to ramp to a 12 mana spell. So we're gonna, you have to kind of be able to play on the edge of your seat with this deck a little bit, because we will take this in case we draw a Scribe, because you are going to be behind. Basically, from turn 1, you're going to be behind with this deck, and you have to be able to be okay with that. I will say though, if you want to learn how to play from behind, or if you want to learn how to manage resources in such a way when you're behind on board or whatever, this is a good deck to do that, because you have to. You have really powerful plays, but to get to them, you have to deal with the stress of being behind on board, behind in life total, and then you come back. And then you turn the corner, basically. I guess in that game, our opponent just did not have a good draw, but I'll take it. I will take it. This deck is also pretty fun. I mean, when you are doing things like drawing 4 cards with a 12 mana spell and you're winning the game, feels really good. So if you like flashy plays, this deck is your deck. I wish I could, I wish I would make more videos that are a little more memey. But one, I'm not much of a meme player. In any card game I've played, I don't do well with weird combos or like weird interactions. If nothing else, I always build the deck really wrong. Like the way you need to think to make those decks really good or interesting, my mind doesn't work that way. So even though I would like to do things like more Cradle, more like Westwind Herald shenanigans, I'm not good at those decks. So if someone has a deck list that they've worked on, I'd be interested in looking at that. We cannot keep this hand. On the play, we really want to have ramp so you can get your ramp going, and this hand has no ramp. This is, again, a hand you want on the draw because of the interaction. Yep, this is much better. We are just going to play this. Don't need to play this right now. You don't, even though it seems obvious to play this on turn 1, we want to draw power. So you don't want to filter out a draw that you want to take. We are going to play it now, though, in case we draw a Secret Pages. We want to be on 3 mana to draw it, because then if we go Secret Pages, we're going to go Secret Pages into Iron Thorn, into Ambassador. So this doesn't fit into our curve, ideally, the rest of the game. So we will play this now. But again, I would rather have drawn Power than Iron Thorn on that draw. So the idea of paying 1 mana to filter your deck of a card you want to draw doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not always obvious to play the 1 mana spell on turn 1. Or even correct. Well, this is a very anticlimactic hand. Didn't draw a lot of ramp. Interrogator. Okay. So we're just gonna play out our stuff and see what happens. There's no point in waiting. This is weak to Annihilate, but so is Iron Thorn. I'd rather have them use removal on the Owl than on my Iron Thorn. And trading is great. You do want to trade aggressively with this deck, because if you've noticed, your life total is going to seriously be an issue. So you want to protect your life total as much as possible. So we're going to go ahead and do this. I don't expect this to live, but if he does, we're going to do a lot of ramping. This looks like the Xenon Killers deck. So we need to find Desert Marshal, depending on how our opponent's draw is. It doesn't look like they have a removal spell. I imagine they would have played it by now. I'm not going to block. I don't want to get nailed by like a Varro's Favor or something. And the 4 life doesn't really bother me that much. Oh, we're going to ramp. Oh, we going ramp. Our opponent's going to draw cards and take damage, but we going ramp. That was a very good draw. Yes. Look at that. Could even play a second Marshal if we wanted to. But we don't, because we have a Silence. So we are gonna say go. So now all we gotta do is drop power, and we have 8 of the Hooru way. I mean, this is the curve you kind of want to get, even though we didn't have a secret pages, so we're 1 turn behind. But that's pretty sweet. Sure. I mean, I have another Iron Thorn, and I'm already at 11. So I don't mind trading there. I don't know that I want to silence this yet. It'd be better if our opponent played like, gave it like killer. Then it would be a little more interesting. We could try to attack here. That's not bad. No, I'll just play another Iron Thorn. And say go. Iron, okay. Be interesting to see what their plan is here. They're not drawing the removal. Okay. I am now gonna silence you. Because if I play 8 of the Hooru, and we have so many draws to get there. That's pretty good. Not quite. Now we have to wait a turn, but still pretty good. So how much damage do we have? 5, 8, 9, 10, 13. What could our opponent do that would be really bad here? I guess they give somebody killer, but we have Desert Marshal, so not too worried about that. Might not even play. Oh, I guess yeah. Might not even play 8 of the Hooru. Might just let Iron Thorn get to it. And our opponent didn't draw any removal, which made our game so much easier. I mean, obviously, right? But you could see too a clear part of why we were so ahead in that game is trading aggressive early. I mean, we don't need our units to stay on the board. We're not winning our game by tempoing out. So trading aggressively is good for you. I mean, really, you need to protect your life total. You want to get to the late game where you can make your really powerful plays. So trading your Awakened Students off for Oni Ronins, trading your Iron Thorns off for Minotaurs, like that's totally fine. It's what you want to be doing. This hand would be a lot better on the play, but we are going to keep it because we can play you on 3, and we have an Iron Thorn, we have some ramp, and we have a payoff. So this hand's fine. It's a little slow, it's a little clunky. We can easily get punished by a really fast start from our opponent. But they're playing Feln, so we probably don't have to worry about that. Feln is a tough matchup, though, because they get great value. Ooh, 3-color Feln, which I guess really isn't Feln at all, but we are going to play this, and we will get, I guess, a Primal Sigil. But next turn, we're going to ramp, probably. Unless we need to do something else. No, we can just ramp. We can ramp. That's perfectly fine. So we're going to do it now. We're going to tap out for this. But on the off chance we run into a backlash or something weird. And then next turn we can go Awakened Student. Oh, we can just play Marshal. That's, yeah, let's see here. I think I'd rather play this than this. Yeah, I think I would rather do that, actually. Let's do this. And then we go Marshal into Marshal. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think that's exactly what we want to do. Our opponent's stuck on mana, which is good for us. And again, I don't mind trading Marshal for removal spells. The fact that we get the ramp means we get value no matter what. Harsh Rule is not really what we want here. That's what we want. And we're going to attack. So now, if this Iron Thorn lives and we draw, if he lives and we draw an ambassador, we're in such good shape. Aw, unfortunately not. Still pretty good though. We're gonna get to play this next turn, so that's quite good. See, I also wish they let me interact here and silence that guy, but they don't. It's very unfortunate. I don't know if that really matters, though. I mean, we're just going to 8 of the Hooru. Sure, I'll take 3. I think I actually will silence that. Is that a foil? Oh, no. Well, I think that's going to probably be game. Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. Hey, we're in the top 950. This has been a good run. Even our 2 losses weren't embarrassing. Yet haven't seen a lot of aggro decks. I mean, this is, a good time to play late game decks because aggro is very much out of favor, which makes sense too. I mean, I was stuck in Diamond 1 forever playing Skycrag because I love Skycrag. It's my favorite aggro deck, and I just got crushed like nobody's business. The amount of like Armory Tavorod decks and like the anti-Armory Tavorod decks are all so bad for aggro. So aggro is just not good right now. So I think on the play, we are going to keep this hand, even though it's only a 1 power hand, because we get a turn 1 Seek power, turn 2 Seek power into a turn 3 Secret Pages into Ironthorn. This is what we're talking. This is... Oh, no, I clicked the wrong button. Whatever. I'm too distracted. Well, anyway, that was an example of a 1-mana hand you can keep. I guess it's fine they put the redraw button on the left because you're more inclined to click on that, and you don't want to have someone be like accidentally keep a bad hand. At least when you mulligan, you get a chance. So still, that sucks. That was going to be a fun hand to play. That was going to be a fun. I mean, I always love it when you can keep a 1 power hand and see if you get there and kind of play around. What it's like to have a 1 power hand. Oh no. Oh no. Well, to be fair, we probably would have lost to an aggro deck anyway because that hand didn't have any board wipes or much to do. Like if I play against an aggro deck and I go search for power, search for power, search for power, search for power, which is what the plan was. It was going to be turn 1 Seek, turn 2 Seek, turn 3 Secret Pages. Probably would have lost anyway. But now we are almost assuredly going to lose this game with this hand. We need to really rip some great draws. Ooh, yeah, we're in bad shape. This might be an anticlimactic end of the video. I don't think we have any way to come back. I don't think there's anything we can draw from this point. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we're dead in 2 attacks. Yeah. I knew you'd do well. Well, at least we're losing to someone in Diamond 1 who probably really wants to hit Masters. And they're definitely going to pick up a win here against me. So, yeah. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not exactly what I had in mind. Well, that's the end of that video. 7-3, but that's okay. We got mana screwed once out of 10 games. Can't really complain about that. So, it happens. It would have been a little more... It would have been interesting... Oh, let's open our pack really quick. Forgot we had one of those. Celestial Omen. Great card. Don't play it, but great card. I don't play Primal that much. It would have been, but I think we would have lost anyway, given our opponent's amazing draw. So yeah. So going over the deck did great. We went 7-3, which is a great record. And two of those losses were real close, especially the one against the Tavorod Armory, and our opponent drew the torch after they had a series of top decks. And also, to be fair, we also had some good top decks, like top decking the Desert Marshal to counter Icaria, so can't complain too much about that. That last game, nothing we could do about it, just, got beat down. And then, what was our other loss? I don't even remember. But the deck performed great. Glad we got to really showcase what this deck can do and what it's supposed to do, and that is how the deck is supposed to work. Why these cards are in here, you got to kind of see how they all work together. The Leave a Witness was definitely the least impressive. This might be a little too stylish, a little too cute, so I would recommend taking this out for a 4th Islands choice, because this card was just phenomenal. The reason I don't like playing 4 of it is because, you from turn 3 on, you have things to do on your turn, so it's a little bit hard to leave mana up. But as you saw in some games, once you are set up, you really want that protection against things like Harsh Rule, Obliterates, big units you can't block. So I think a 4th Islands choice is probably correct, although I was pretty happy with 3. I mean, I didn't really feel like I was left in too many games where I really wish I had it and didn't have it. And I feel like I drew the right amount. So, if you want to experiment with this, experiment with the 4th. See if drawing 2 a game is really that much better than drawing 1 a game. But I might try that. Otherwise, I might put in another Mystic Ascendant just to kind of break those stalls. You could even experiment with a Vodacon, which I have done, which is pretty good. Vodacon in a ramp deck, it's a great thing to ramp into. Seraph, you can see now that there's a lot more units to choose from. And the fact that there's a lot more removal that's good against her, and just things that don't care about her ability, just like bigger units, better relic weapons. She's not as good as she used to be. So I could see, keeping Seraph at 3, or maybe even cutting Seraph for, bigger cards or other ramp things. Like maybe cut all 3 of these, play 4th Islands choice, and like 4 Mystic Ascendants or something. But overall, I was really happy with the deck. I think we did great with it. And it was a lot of fun making this video. I mean, it's always fun when you go 7-3, right? But thank you, everyone, for watching. Make sure you stop by Numot Gaming for all of your Eternal and Magic the Gathering content. There's great stuff coming out all the time, like this video. And thank you for watching. Please stop by at my Twitter and give me a follow. You can get my thoughts on all things gaming and I guess political, because my Twitter is a little political. But I will see you next time. Thank you, everyone, and have a good week. I'll see you on the ladder. Bye.